Hey, this is Strider, Regional Director for the Baltimore Guardian Angels. Welcome to Beyond the Streets. Today, we are going to talk to Gaetane Borders of Peas in Their Pods, who deals with basically missing persons, missing children down in Atlanta. We've been having a great relationship with them for almost, 6 or 7 years, or maybe even more, but Gaetane's a great person, and we're going to talk about that. One of the things I definitely want to do is talk about what's going on in my city here of Baltimore, Maryland. And I'm going to pull Jazz, who is the acting chapter commander for the Baltimore Guardian Angels. And she's going to talk to us about the crime stats and the crime in Baltimore and the political stuff and all the things that goes on in Baltimore. So we're going to talk about some of that stuff. So hang on and be ready for the Guardian Angels Beyond the Streets. Here we go. All right. Hey. This is Strider. Okay, now with us right now, we have Jazz, who is the chapter commander for the Baltimore Guardian Angels, who also covers all of our Baltimore crime statistics and missing person statistics. So I want to find out what's going on. Hey, Jazz, how are you?
Hey, Strider, I'm good. How are you? Good to see you.
Yeah, good. Hey, what the hell is going on inside of our city of Baltimore? Because everybody wants to know. We just got our new police chief, Harrison, who came on board. We're going to set up a meeting with him. We're going to try to get him on board and talk to him about what's happening in Baltimore. But let's talk about the crime in the streets. What do you got?
So right now, as of the time of this broadcast, Baltimore has 52 homicides. We are, per capita, twice that of D.C., and I think Philadelphia is maybe about half that as well. So we're definitely higher per capita than the major cities around us. We're also higher than New York and Chicago. Surprisingly, Chicago has a decrease of 37 homicides compared to where they were last year. So they're doing great. Baltimore, on the other hand, not so much. While we do have a little bit of a decrease, you know, the pace has kind of picked up. It was a slow February, end of January. The pace has picked up again. So right now we're estimating we'll be near 300 at the end of the year.
That's scary considering this is March. We're not even into the middle of March right now, and it hasn't even been warm yet. It hasn't even gotten warm outside yet.
Yeah, I know. Well, in a way it is and in a way it isn't, because we're kind of seeing a shift in where the crimes are taking place right now. So it used to be that Southeast Baltimore typically had the lowest or in the lower numbers when it came to homicides. Right now, the Central District has 2 homicides, and the Southeast is actually higher than that. They have, I can't remember the exact number, but I know the Southeast District has picked up a little bit from where they were. The Eastern District and the Southwest Districts of Baltimore are actually tied right now with 10 homicides each. The next highest is, there's 3 districts tied with 6. And that's the next highest compared to the 2 that are the very top right now. So the crime patterns we're seeing with violent crime is primarily taking place in Southwest Baltimore and East Baltimore.
And that's crazy considering this is just March 10th. This is just March 10th. And, you know, I'm curious to see what's going to happen and where this swing change is going to be when the warm weather kicks in, and also as the dust settles from the new police commissioner coming in. And, you know, they're talking about all kinds of stuff going on now, because Baltimore is definitely one, we're under police officers. We're losing cops to different counties and other organizations. So it kind of sucks right now. So I'm kind of curious to see where we end up.
Well, in terms of things going on in Baltimore, I know that you've heard that Johns Hopkins is actually trying to put together their own police force. So, as an update to what's going on with that proposal actually just passed the House of Delegates and has been sent over to the Maryland Senate for their portion of it. So that's actually progressing.
Well, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with that too, because it's one thing to put together your own police force, and there's lots of private organizations that have their own police force, but at the same time, when it comes to the communities, when it comes to the boundaries, when it comes to, I guess, policing areas outside of your little area, Where's that going to happen? And also, is Johns Hopkins going to be hiring more cops in Baltimore City, taking them off the streets and hiring about Johns Hopkins? So, this is going to be one of those swing things where we got to figure out how things are going to go, because Baltimore's a rough neighborhood and it's getting rougher every day. Well,
it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, definitely. So.
Yeah. And, I was actually, one of the things you guys saw me post about sometime last week was that I was at a car wash when an attempted robbery took place right beside me, which, of course, I wasn't in Angel colors. I was in work clothes. I was working. I was in my work truck. And I saw two guys coming up from maybe half a block away. And the weird thing about it is you can see through their body language that these two bastards were up to no good. There's no doubt about it. I'm sitting here. I was already in my truck, but there was another guy sitting next to me who had his doors open, his trunk open. He's vacuuming his car. And I saw these guys coming. And I'm saying to myself, okay, well, this doesn't look good. These guys are coming up here. Something may happen here. Of course, I'm in an F-350 pickup truck. It's a pretty big pickup truck, but I'm inside a confined space. And I remember thinking, okay, let me watch these guys, because I couldn't back out. I couldn't pull forward. I would have. But anyway, so I'm watching. I said, one guy comes towards and stands in front of my truck, which is not a big deal because I haven't seen a criminal yet to stand up against an F-450.
True.
I'd had a ball with him. So the other guy came walking towards my driver's door. So I'm thinking, okay, this is not going to be good because now I'm in my truck. I don't have a gun. I'm sorry. I don't carry weapons. And I was in regular clothes, so I could have. Anyway, we're not going to go there. But I remember thinking to myself, okay, if I open the door and jump out right now, I'm not going to be able to close that distance if this guy pulls a weapon, because his hands was in his sweatpants. The other guy had his hands in his hoodie. So I couldn't close the distance there. I also know that if they got within 2 or 3 feet of the truck, I couldn't open the door in time. And now I'm sitting in. I'm like a fish in a barrel if those guys decide to shoot me. So everybody knows a good offense is a good defense. What it's trying to do. I wind my window down and I said, you better effing keep on moving. Just keep moving. And the guy was like, oh, he didn't know. It was like a deer in the headlights. I guess he was like, it was like the Jedi mind trick. He was like, oh, he read my mind. So it stopped him enough that he kind of just veered away and started walking away. So they went heading out towards wherever they came from. So I backed up, but I did stop and tell the guy next to me, look, you see those 2 guys walking down the road? They're no damn good. I'm pulling out. You might want to leave the area because you're here all alone. And he says, okay, I'll pack up my stuff and I'll get out of here. By the time I said this, these guys were gone. We're looking for them. They vanished. So I'm like, okay. He says, well, it seems like they're gone. I'm going to, vacuum this out and I'll be done. I said, all right, I'm good. I back up. I pull onto the road. I look in my rearview mirror and here comes these 2 little bastards running from behind the car wash building straight to this guy's truck. And I'm like, oh my God. Going through my mind is, okay, this is going to be crazy because they're going to get him. I pull back into the parking lot. I'm hitting my horn. I'm trying to get to these guys and they take off running. So I pull up to him and I said, I wind the window. I said, you okay? You okay? What they do? He says, man, they tried to grab my keys and told me, give me all my money. Yeah, he was cool. He wasn't as freaked out as one might imagine, considering somebody just jumped in his truck and told him, give me the keys. I called the police, and I'm telling them, okay, these 2 guys are walking southwest toward the metro state. That's where they're going. They're still here. Told them what they're wearing, the time, all that kind of stuff. And this poor guy was decent. He waited with me. I'd have got the hell out of Dodge, but he waited. Of course, I just saved him from being robbed. But at the same time, he waited. And as he continued to wash his car, I kind of sat there and waited either for the police or for him to get done his car. Police never showed up, never called me back. But that's another story. We're not going to go there. But it just shows how quickly things can happen, and it was funny because, it really didn't ruffle my feathers that much, which is weird. But at the same time, it made me think afterwards, okay, what would have happened if this guy would have pulled something, when he was maybe 5 to 6 feet away from me, or if he'd have got close, so you worry about that whole position of being vulnerable. And, it'd have been a different ball game if I was outside of my truck, because that's different. I can easily, I was outside my truck. I could have closed the distance. Something could have happened. I could have done something. But in that truck, I was pretty much done. And then you think about all the people who've been shot in their cars because you have no place to go. You can't move. You can't do anything. You're just stuck. That was a pretty shitty situation, just so you know.
Well,
But
I'm just glad that, it worked out the way it did and that we're here doing a podcast instead of standing on a street corner doing a honk for Strider today.
yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, me too. I'm not even going to comment, but yeah, me too. Me too. But like I said, we're gonna get the police commissioner on. We're going to talk to some of the people in the community, and we're going to talk about what they see as far as the crime pattern and how things are going, and basically what their thoughts are. But one of the things about me is to talk to people more, and I guess we're going to, I'm going to use you to help set that up here in Baltimore, because one thing we got to talk about is knowing your surroundings, being aware of your situation, and basically understanding the body language of those people that are around you.
And that is actually a good example, because that is one of the main things that Guardian Angels, not just here in Baltimore, but really throughout the world, train in, is understanding body language. Because in a situation where you're trapped in that sardine can of a F-350 that you've got, the fact that you saw those guys coming from half a block away and the way that they carried themselves and all of that, that could have been the difference between us doing a podcast and us doing a honk for Strider. So I know we've done senior safety seminars and we've done youth anti-bullying seminars and self-defense and women's self-defense and all of that, but it's the common thread in all of the things that we do is that's one of the primary things we teach, right?
It is in public awareness. I'm glad you mentioned the bullying, because it's crazy to me how many young teen kids and even younger than teenagers are killing themselves due to this bullying. This is a big deal. So we're definitely going to do something when it comes to the bullying aspect of what's going on out here. I mean, awareness is key. Education is key. And that's some of the stuff that we are going to work on. So I will touch base with you and we'll set some of that stuff up. So if anybody's interested in any of these kind of programs of learning, understanding the body language and bullying, get in touch with us at the Baltimore Guardian Angels, and we're going to make that happen.
Yeah, so you can always find us on Facebook. Of course, our website, BaltimoreGuardianAngels.org. You can email us, call us. We're easy to find. So, again, like Strider said, we have a lot of programs and we do a lot of things. So reach out to us.
Reach out to us. Okay, that is Jazz from Out Beyond the Streets. Thank you, Jazz. Coming up next is Gaetane Borders of Peas in the Pod. So hang on a second. All right, this is Strider from Beyond the Streets, and right now, as promised, we have Gaetane Borders from Peas in Their Pods. Hello, Gaetane.
Hi, Strider. How are you? Hi, everyone.
Good. And we have Jazz joining us today.
Hey, Jazz.
Hi.
So I spoke with you a little bit about the missing persons thing, well, basically constantly. But does it seem like now it seems like there are more and more and more and more people going missing?
Sometimes it's hard to decipher what's going on because we're so deep in the trenches when it comes to this issue. But I feel like there's a lot of more sensational types of situations going on. I feel like people are really at a place where it's really taken to heart, and it's difficult. It's very, very difficult. I don't know if statistically there are more, or if it just feels overwhelming because there's never an ending to it. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I think you're right with the overwhelming part, because it's amazing how many people email, message, or text us with missing persons. And it seems like realistically, you can sit down all day long, every day, and don't do anything but just put together missing person flyers and send information out. And
I know that's right.
It's crazy. And I mean, one of the things that really gets crazy is I'll get the phone calls and I'll send out to the Angels, I'll send it out to Jazz. She'll work on the flyers sometimes before the flyers are even done. These persons are found or back home or whatever.
Right.
So at the same time, you got that whole, my kid didn't come home and they're supposed to have been here in 2 hours, but now, oh, they're here, and it's just, but at the same time, that it takes your anxiety level up to here. And the whole time you're waiting, you're like, You know,
Right. You're like on the edge of your seat. You're talking to parents and they're pouring out their hearts. They're sobbing, they're crying. And of course they are. I would be petrified. And so you go from, 0 to 100. You're in action mode. You get everything ready. You're reaching out to the appropriate agencies. You're doing this. And then best case scenario is that, you get a call saying, hey, yeah, they were found. They came back home, or we know where they are. That's the best case scenario. But then, of course, we know we also have those cases where it's been now months, years, and you go from all this like adrenaline to it flatlining a little bit because there's no advancement in the case, but then at the same time it still eats away at you, and you're still working with the families, and their anxiety hasn't decreased at all. It's a very difficult process.
It is. And we also talked about the number of cases that we've worked on together where all the anniversaries have popped up all at the same time. You got the Felicia Barnes, you got the Rennie Jose, we've had the people from North Carolina, and all of these things just come up, and it seems like they hit in such a time span that years later, when they all come back a bunch together all at once, it's just, it hits you. That. It hits you, and you're like, damn, it's like you're ready to explode.
I know, and I think when we talked, I was expressing how Relisha Rudd's anniversary, 5 years, I saw that came up on my Facebook memory timeline.
Came up on mine.
Yours too, right? Yeah. I said, 5 years? Really? 5 years? It's inconceivable to me. And just, I see her picture all the time because she's constantly in my spirit, but just to see that initial post from Peas pop up, I said, wow, so much time, but yet still no answers.
Still no answer. And it's amazing to me. Like, and we talk about it, of all the people that go missing every single day, approximately they say 2,300. I think it's more, but right. I hope it's less, but it's just so many. But at the same time, every single day, where the hell are they? And we don't have any information. It's just like gone. And it does not leave the people who are looking, the families that are caught up in it. You just don't shake that. You just can't shake it. And it's a really sickening, empty feeling.
It is. And I tell you, the internet, all these websites that are out there that our young people are on, my kids included, it's you try your best to mitigate how much time they spend online and, what they're doing online. But that whole aspect changed parenting, and it changed adolescence in a way that I know I can't even relate to at my young age. I just can't relate to having outsiders have access to the inside of your home and talking directly to your kids without you necessarily even knowing it. And I think that has really catapulted this whole issue of missing persons.
And it has. And, of course, my kids go on to play certain games on certain sites, but we have all the passwords. And if we walk up and say, hey, let me see what you're working on, no hesitation. You give it to us right then or there, or you lose it, And if somebody that they do not know comes up and says, hey, my name is Billy Bob, I just want to reach out to you, they have to come to us, and we'll figure out who this person is. But the scary thing about, and I tell parents and teachers and people all the time, is that the predators are actually out here working. They're not going to stick up a sign that says, hey, I'm stalking your kids. They are going to do everything they can. They know everything about them. They know where they go, who their friends are, what they dress like, what school they go to. And this is all information that these guys don't have to ask for. We give it to them voluntarily, but all the crap that we put out there on the social media. And parents, I'm telling you right now, the best thing to do, the only way that you can avoid your kid being on a milk carton or a poster at Walmart is to sit down and talk to them about the hazards of the internet and these chat groups and these games. And the games are the biggest predator tools, I call them, because everybody gets it and you're hooked in on it and you can't get off. Next thing you know, you got a pop up from somebody you don't know, offering you coins or points or whatever it is you got. And you have to be vigilant of what it is they're doing, even doing their homework. And like you said, how do you put up the safeguards, that most people can't break through?
Well, and and I tell parents all the time, I probably will get some negative feedback for this, but listen, this is the world we live in, and I trust nobody. I trust nobody with my kids. So I actually go through my kids' phones. Don't really care what anybody thinks about that, but I go through everything. I go through their websites that they visit. I go through the social media sites that they have pages on. I have a middle schooler about to be high schooler and a high schooler about to be college student. Less so stringent with the college going bound son of mine, but still there are parameters there. But my youngest, absolutely, I'm on everything that she's on. She's not happy about it, and she doesn't have to be. I'm not here to be her friend.
That's right.
I'm here to be her parent and protect her, and that's my job.
And we do the same thing. And like you said, for whatever sites they go on, they are not allowed to delete anything of their history at all. Right. We go through their history. We get on there and there's something going with their history, so is the phone and the computer, all that stuff. They lose everything, so they're not allowed to erase their history.
We're right here.
I'm telling you. And like I said, if we went down there and said, okay, here, let's go through your phone. There's no hesitation. Here you go. There's a consequence to saying no. We don't want to hear it.
Oh yeah, there's no such thing as no. No doesn't apply to my kids. No. This is part of the price you pay for the privilege to get on a thing in the first place. But yeah, and we even approve what sites they go on. We approve. I mean, they're not allowed to download anything or nothing because we are the ones that have to do all that stuff. Yeah, but it's what you do. But it's what you do to keep them safe. And I'm telling you guys, the internet is the best and worst thing that happened to us because. Don't get me started because there's just so many pros and cons about it. And with me, I'm too paranoid. I'm okay. So I remember having a good time before we had all this internet type stuff. When we had to read the books, we had to remember phone numbers. We had to know directions. We don't have to do any of that stuff now. We know. Think about it. We call an Uber. We program the address where we're going. Then we let a stranger come get us. We get right into the spider web or the parlor and then let them take us where we got to go. Yeah, it's crazy. And we're letting YouTube babysit our kids. And we saw what happened recently with that whole situation with the suicide video thing that pops up. Like, what sicko? Where do we live? What country? What world do we live in that is something that someone thought up of? And it pops up on children's videos. Yeah. So while you think you're watching Disney.com or whatever it is, we let our kids play on our iPads, our phones, their own personal iPads and phones. But then a video will pop up that will instruct kids on how to harm themselves, commit suicide to be exact. And
it stays with them. No matter what, we can take the phone from and tell them, explain it, all that stuff. But these are things that stays with them. And believe me, people, this scars and it's the hardest thing to erase is the memory, and when you're growing up and you see something that traumatic, I mean, and the amount of teen and underage suicides right now is rising. There are so many kids now where emotionally it's horrible because, we let these kids, it's one thing when I was little, we go to school and get bullied, and every now and then you go home, you were pretty much safe. Now you go to school, you get bullied, you go home, you get bullied because your phone, your internet, your fan pages, whatever it is, it stays with you.
It sure does. And, we could probably do another whole show about it, but research has proven that kids, they have a higher percentage of depression and anxiety because they have, the added pressure of the internet, the Instagram, any social media that they're on. It's constant. So the teasing doesn't stop. Like you said, it doesn't stop just at school. People post stuff online and then our kids continue to internalize that. And then some of them act out on themselves or even act out on others as a result. It's a whole
It is a whole nother show. And I think right now, along with the missing persons and the education, we need to start doing more posts about it. We need to start bringing it up. And one of the things I want to talk to you about is actually putting together some of these lectures and these educational panels where we can, like we did in North Carolina, and start bringing awareness to this with the bullying. But right now, as far as what you're currently doing, missing persons, what are you working on right now? I mean, I know it's tons of stuff, but what comes right off the top of your tongue?
Well, like we started out talking about today about how it's never ending, the amounts of stories and the amounts of families and the amounts of concern. But there are a couple things that weigh heavily on me right now. Of course, like you said, there are hundreds, thousands of families and situations. But did you hear, Strider, about that young girl that was found, partially found in a duffel bag in California?
Yeah. I mean, how can you not?
Believe it or not, there's a lot of people that haven't, because though it's, we're in the bubble of it all.
We're in the bubble. This is what we do.
Yeah, this is what we do. So we get those reports. We hear, we look for them too, and they come to us. But the average person that I've spoken to hadn't heard about it at all. And it's so tragic, because we're talking about an unidentified African-American girl who they say was approximately 4 feet 5 inches tall, and weighed, guess how much she weighed?
What was it?
55 pounds. 55 pounds, 4 feet 5 inches tall. So definitely emaciated. They have a description online, and guys, look at the picture of what she was wearing: a long sleeve pink shirt with the logo on it says Future Princess Hero, and princess is with a strike through, so it's Future Hero. And that just broke me to pieces. Just the symbolism of that, of what she was wearing, that shirt, Future Hero. And here we are talking about her body in a duffel bag that was found by workers as they were cleaning up, and they find her, and they think they found her on Tuesday of this past week, so that would have been the 5th. But they believe that she was dumped there that previous Sunday, so which would have been March 3rd. And there's been a lot of speculation, a lot, we as advocates, we're always trying to find out who a child is, where they might be. And
unfortunately, you got that whole part about you where you're saying to yourself, okay, is this a name I can take off my list or not? Or do we got to still keep looking for that person?
Right.
And I don't say that in a bad way. I say it because as long as the people that we're looking for continue to be missing, there is no closure for the family. So every single day, from the first day that person went missing to 3, 4, 5 years later, you never stop looking. And it's crazy, because like you, when I saw that, and every time they find someone, you go through your list of names and you're waiting for them to release the identity,
right,
so you can see what's going on. But it's anybody who hasn't had some sort of experience or a personal connection to this will never understand what it's really like.
Right, exactly. And so, people have been posting online the composite picture of this baby girl that was found in a duffel bag, and then possible others that have been missing for a while. One of those comparisons was Relisha Rudd. And so if you look at her picture next to this unidentified girl's picture, you start to think, well, maybe she looks a little bit like what Relisha would have looked like. And then another comparison was a girl that went missing recently. Her name is Skylar Manny.
Right. That's the one I read about.
Yeah, she was found. So it's not Skylar, thankfully. Skylar was safely found. So she is actually crossed off the list. Amen. Hallelujah to that. But there's been no positive identification of this child. And so my thing that I always go to when a body is found is that this was someone's child. This was possibly someone's brother, sister. This was someone's student, niece. This was someone's friend. Who is she? Somebody knows. There's no way that a 4 foot 5 inch tall baby girl who's in a duffel bag goes missing and no one has anything to say. Like, it enrages me. And it saddens me at the same time. It's those two emotions always. But that broke me this week.
It was sad. And like you, and when you brought up the composite drawing of what goes on, you are exactly right, because I'm looking at the names. But it's the weird thing with me is I can't go by the composite drawings, because you know what? Because you want that person to be the person you're looking for so bad that you're looking for these positive variables that may make it yes.
Right.
And then when you get that, then you realize you're like, damn. You're like,
right.
But it's a hard thing. So
it is a hard thing.
but I guess pretty soon, we have the next hump for the missing coming up, which I'm hoping to start working on right away, so we can make that one a big one. And prior to that, I do want to get with you so we can go around and figure out what we got to do to plan some of these missing person seminars, and try to educate some people out there on what it is going on and see what we can do to make that difference, or at least give it a shot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What are some things you're working on currently?
Well, right now we're currently working on, there's so much, because the unfortunate thing about the Guardian Angels is that we can't be everywhere at once. So one of the things that we still try to do is maintain what we can have. And luckily with us, we have a lot of great partnerships, like with Peas, and a lot of citizens that are out there who are giving us stuff. So what I'm working on trying to do, and I'm going to need your help on this one, is we're going to have to figure, and you and I talked about this actually, is putting together our own network of stuff where we can have the people, because we have so many people out there, folks, that reach out to Gaetane and the Guardian Angels and Peas that are looking to not only look for a missing loved one, but also want to help. So Gaetane, what I want to do is continue what we want to do, and I've been thinking about this a lot, is getting these people out here and try to get them collectively to work as a unit, so that we can have that network base, so we can reach from here to Atlanta, from Atlanta to Georgia or DC or California. And I mean, Q, the missing person organization, does a great job with that, because they have people scattered all over the place. But I want to define these partnerships so that all of us can pitch in together and say, okay, this is what we got. But that's what I'm working on. I actually reached out to some people in the FBI to see what they can do to help us. And I spoke with the Baltimore City Police Missing Person Unit to see what they can do. But this is something that I'm going to definitely need you on the front lines for, because I'm not smart to put it all together by myself. But I think this is something we need to put together.
Yes, you are. But absolutely, I think that is pivotal. There are so many people that are in organizations, so established organizations, but also just everyday individual people that are standalone people that do want to help as well.
And there are a lot of them. And we're going to do what we can to organize all this and put this group together and see what we can do to make something happen. Because when that email or text or whatever comes in from one place, we want to be able to connect it to another place and say, okay, here's our network. We got this. So we'll figure that out. But we are going to touch base again probably in the next couple of weeks, and we'll do another one of these, and we'll talk about maybe what we worked on to make this happen. And we hope that all you people out there will join us and come aboard, and we'll just make this happen. So join a team. It's a small world. Let's just see what we can do to keep everybody safe out there. Any last words, Gaetane?
Just, again, I'm so thankful for you, Strider, and the Baltimore Guardian Angels for being our brother organization and helping to spread awareness, because I know, and you are my shoulder to lean on. I hope vice versa as well, because it's not an easy path, but it's one that at the end of the day is very fulfilling for me. And I encourage everybody, it's so easy to help. People don't realize how much they can contribute to the cause by simply liking, sharing, reposting. Literally, it only takes a millisecond to do, right?
That's right. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Well, thank you, Gaetane, and I'll talk to you later on in the week, I'm sure. And I'll do what I can not to throw much burdens on you. But I'm going to call you anyway. We're going to make this thing happen. And I'll talk to you.
You better call.
I sure will.
Bye.
Thank you, Gaetane. All right, that is Beyond the Streets. Thank you all so much. Bye-bye.